And it's that time once again. Hi there. Welcome, everybody, to what we call Cast Iron Wednesday. This is a regular occurrence that's been happening on many YouTube channels, especially the smaller cooking channels like this one, for the past several years now. We do a cast iron video on Wednesday because it's fun, gives us an excuse to play with cast iron. I mean, it's not like I don't have any cast iron to play with, I would say. And yeah, I've been doing these weekly videos, and indeed this whole channel really as an excuse to do my best to rotate through my cast iron collection. And I can only hope everything is working okay. Looks like we have sound this time. Otherwise, folks would be yelling about the sound. So I'd say we're off to a good start. But nonetheless, so thank you very much for showing up here on my YouTube channel tonight because, well, I mean, I do my best to keep everybody entertained, and I guess it works because I've got a fair number of subscribers on my channel. And thank you so much, and thank you especially to everybody who's been kind enough to show up here tonight. There are a lot of regular faces, and I'm always glad to see them. Folks like Val's Black Cats Rule, hello, and hello to Cynthia Wesley and Rick Stumbow. And my condolences to Papa Dan, who I understand couldn't make it tonight. But yes, and hello as well to Rocket Caver. We visited the falls 30 years or so ago. Would love to go back. I've driven past Niagara Falls a couple of times, and I've never had the urge to go there. Maybe I should do this next April when the eclipse happens. But nonetheless, as well, hello as well to RT Scott and Pipgorn and Corey Clark. And hello to Evil Z. Nice to see you. Nice to see new folks here on this chat. We're always welcome, open, and welcome to new faces, or at least new names, since I'm the only one whose face you can see on this chat. But besides my face here, of course, what you can see here is the cast iron, because that is the whole point here. And like the title of this video says, we are doing a lot of talking tonight, especially about cooking in cast iron. I mean, we always talk about cooking in cast iron along with many other subjects, but of course, the reason for it is naturally, well, Thanksgiving is 1 week from tomorrow. And yes, that means everybody is starting to get their preparations ready for the big day, because it's a wonderful day for cooking in cast iron. And even if you're not here in the United States, where we celebrate Thanksgiving on a week from tomorrow, well, there's no reason why you can't get out your cast iron and cook, because of course, the whole point is that it's a lot of fun. And yes, hello as well to Cast Iron Fanatic and Rick Stumbow. You are right, the right spot. And hello, Stephen O'Neill, and I'm a cast iron ironaholic. You have cast ironitis. Hi, Steve. And there are so many more of us here who will say that you may be in the worst place there is to get over a cast iron addiction, because as you can see, I'm fairly hooked myself. So, and hello, Monkey Wrench as well. You've got a new BSR Century skillet. Well, congratulations on that. And yes, I know very well what it's like to have a BSR that's a spinner. Oh no, you said you have a 12. I don't have a BSR number 12 right now. Even though I've got a number 14 and I have a number 10. I had a number 12 a few years ago, and I finally ended up selling it on Facebook because I found I really didn't have much of a use for it. I mean, anything I could do in the number 12, I could do better in old Stumpy here, my number 14. But that's just me. And speaking of spinners, though, you can say the same thing about Stumpy here as well. He is, again, a number 14 cast iron skillet, and I took him out especially for tonight. And as you can see, he's a spinner too, like it or not, even though I've gotten a lot of use out of old Stumpy, and I intend to continue getting a lot of use out of him because, well, he's a great cast iron pan. And in fact, I took out old Stumpy here really to show him off because, yeah, I did a thing the other night with good old Stumpy here, and I'm quite happy about that. I've already posted about it on Facebook, And I've got a video for it that is about 85% ready, and I hope to have it finished and up on YouTube later tonight. That is, I did my annual turkey roast in good old Stumpy here, and 2 days ago, and I did something that I have not done before. I took the turkey after it had come out of the brine, and I cut up the turkey. I separated the turkey into pieces, and I roasted the pieces rather than roasting the entire turkey all together. Good old Stumpy here. I put all of the dark meat into this. I put the wings, the legs, and extra pieces all here into good old Stumpy. Whereas I cut off the breast meat, the white meat, and put it in a second pan, a BSR number 10 skillet, a typical, well, not so typical, 12 and a half inch cast iron skillet. This is a BSR number 10 that I use. So we had two of these, and by doing it this way, the results were fantastic. I should explain that this year, I'm having company for Thanksgiving. Yes, some dear friends of mine are coming up to visit on Thanksgiving. And so that means, of course, that there's an excuse to put out a Thanksgiving spread. Well, they sent me a message that they have another person or another friend who they want to bring along for Thanksgiving next week. And I said, more the merrier, bring them along. Well, this person here wants to ask if she could bring in a couple of ducks and roast them in the oven alongside the turkey on Thanksgiving. So who am I to say no to roast duck? And yes, so I certainly will not pass up that opportunity. Although because they want the roast duck and a turkey, I realized that I would actually have to cook the turkey very early so that there would be plenty of time there during the day to roast those ducks. And that was the reason why I decided to try cutting up that turkey into separate pieces and roasting them, and it was great. Okay, by doing that, I roasted all of those turkey pieces in an hour and a half. In that, I started the oven at 300 degrees. I put the white meat in one pan, I put the dark meat in another pan, and I put them into the oven at the same time on different shelves. And it only took 50 minutes. No, actually, I'm wrong. It only took an hour and 10 minutes for the temperature to reach 155 degrees, thanks to my thermometer. And that, of course, was enough to pull out the white meat. So I left the turkey in. I left the dark meat in the oven, and it reached 185 degrees, which is great for dark meat. Only 20 minutes later. So yeah, it only took an hour and a half to completely cook a Thanksgiving turkey using this method. So I was really stoked about this. And as I said, I'm going to have a video of it out hopefully within the next couple of hours or so once this is done. But nonetheless, this has also given me the incentive. As I said, this is why I'm having a cast iron discussion tonight, because I would very much encourage and ask for as well for everybody tips and tricks for cooking in cast iron this Thanksgiving, because there's a lot of stuff going on, and anything that helps to make it easier or more fun or produce, well, more tasty food on Thanksgiving, that is of course all a plus. Which is why, again, I'm offering this as a suggestion. I am not telling you to just give up your tried and true method for roasting your turkey. If you have got yourself a can't fail method that you inherited from your great grandmother of using your cast iron pan to produce the world's greatest turkey on Thanksgiving, good. More power to you. In fact, share it here. Tell us what it is if you dare. But on the other hand, if the circumstances call for it, if, like, say, you have some kind of an emergency, or even if maybe you've never roasted a turkey before, I'm suggesting that as one possibility. Because the thing is when roasting a turkey, what I found this out several years ago. This is a real secret that they never tell you when it comes to roasting a Thanksgiving turkey. Yeah, this is one of those secrets they don't want you to know. And what is the secret? It is easy to roast a turkey, and it's almost impossible to screw up a turkey. Pretty much, you can make all kinds of mistakes. You can use all kinds of methods for roasting a turkey, and almost always your turkey will turn out great. That's why there are 1,000 different ways to roast a turkey on Thanksgiving. And that's why we see all of these videos who all say the same thing. Hey, this is the best way to make the greatest turkey you've ever made. Try this way and you will have an excellent turkey. And that involves, let's see, flipping the turkey, putting the turkey in legs first, brining the turkey in a certain special solution. Like me, I brine it in buttermilk. Only using a free range, virgin, organic, imported from Mars special turkey that you can only get at Whole Foods Market for $200, things like that. Or even the trash can turkey. You know, some people who, you've seen the videos where they literally just put the turkey on a stake, put a trash can over it, and dump a whole bunch of coals all around it. Or, of course, there's deep frying the turkey, there's smoking the turkey. And then, of course, there's good old roasting the turkey in the oven, all of which are great ways to do a turkey. So, really, there's almost, and I say almost, no way to screw up a turkey because I have seen people do it. There are some videos out there with turkey fails. Like maybe, for instance, they're deep frying a turkey and they end up setting the porch or the house on fire, which is not good. I saw one person, she actually glazed her entire turkey with honey and put it into a hot oven of like 400 degrees or something. And the honey just plain burned and blackened the turkey. So it can happen. But I guess the best experience, speaking from my own experience, I think I can only say this. the absolute, the absolute number one rule, and I've said this many times before, and you probably can even quote me even before I say it. What is the number one rule that will guarantee that you will have a perfect turkey? And no, it's not. No, it's not cooking in cast iron. The number one absolute rule for getting good turkey: cook to temperature. Yeah, see, you knew I was going to say that. Use a thermometer. Cook your turkey to the right temperature. Forget about minutes per pound. Forget about 350 degrees for 4 hours or 200 degrees for 6 hours or anything like that. Don't do it that way because everybody's oven is different. Just about every turkey is different. The situation is different. My oven is not the same as your oven. It's not the same as Gordon Ramsay's oven. And if you're going to do yourself a trash can turkey by putting a trash can over the top and dumping coals over it, that's definitely not the same as my oven. Or if you're going to use a cast iron Dutch oven, that's also different. I mean, so it sounds like a text just came in. I hope it's nothing important. Okay. Oh yeah, no, I've got a friend asking me what's on the menu. I'm gonna have to tell her, and let me do this. Tonight, comma, I'm taking it easy and talking live instead of cooking, full stop. I'm encouraging people to share tips and recipes, full stop. There we go. Okay, I've sent her that text. But anyway, yeah, as I was saying, no, the thing is just that. I mean, when I made my first turkey, which was in 2011, May of 2011, I think it was. That was my very first turkey. I cooked it, and the entire thing just fell apart in that I couldn't even take it. Excuse me. Sorry. I couldn't even take it out of the pot. I cooked it in a big Dutch oven, and as I said, it just came apart as I tried doing it, taking it out. And you know the reason why. I overcooked it. That is the number one reason why turkey breast turns out dry. It's overcooked. That's why it all just falls apart when you take it out of the oven. It's overcooked. I could probably spend the next hour saying this again and again and again. Cook to temperature. Use a thermometer. Cook to temperature. But I won't waste your time. I'm just doing my best to kind of hammer the point down. Use a thermometer. That is the only thing you need to get a good turkey. You can brine it. You can use your cast iron. You can use your smoker. You can use the microwave. Don't ask me how, but as long as you turn it to the right temperature, you will get a good turkey. Anyway, and yes, and hello as well. And while I'm still talking, we've still got Neches River catfishing. Use a thermometer and spend the money and get a good meat thermometer. Yeah, I know. I mean, just think it could cost all of $16 at Walmart, for instance, and you can get yourself a Thermo Pro thermometer. Actually, I think Walmart sells a different brand, and I forget what it's called or something. But point is, well, even most of the time, okay, turkey is a very forgiving meat, and that's what I mean. It's almost impossible to screw up a turkey. It's different from steak. It's easy to overcook a steak, and I should know I'm still overcooking it most of the time. But it's so forgiving that yes, I mean using a good thermometer is a really good thing. But even if you just get a Walmart digital cooking thermometer for Thanksgiving, that is still more than enough. Great, these texts are going off the scale here. Okay. Okay. All right. Meanwhile, you need a 1980s giant microwave to cook a turkey, and it does turn out moist. Yes. White meat and dark cook at different times. That is absolutely true. The white meat is more delicate and it is more tricky to cook than the dark meat. The dark meat you can do almost anything to because, again, it's almost impossible. I say almost impossible to burn the dark meat, which is why we usually cook the dark meat to the point where it's just falling off the bone. If your dark meat reaches 200 degrees, great. You've got some nice fall off the bone dark meat. If your white meat reaches 200 degrees, okay. Yeah, I think I'm need a drink of water with this. So yes, those are the two things, and that is where all of these tricks and tips come into play because of the fact that those two parts of the turkey cooked differently. And I learned a couple of tricks as well, roasting my turkey in cast iron. And that's one reason why I love cooking turkey in cast iron, which comes back to the subject of cast iron. Because okay, you know how they usually tell you to get this kind of a turkey roasting pan, the kind that raises the turkey, it comes with a rack so that you can raise the turkey and get air all around the turkey, the top and the bottom. You probably have one of those things, and the only time you ever use it is at Thanksgiving. But it works. It can work, yes. On the other hand, I like to use a cast iron skillet that I use almost every day. That I, well, so that instead of cluttering up my kitchen with a piece of cookware that I'm only going to use once a year, I get to break out a good old, just that, a good old skillet. And what I do is I preheat the skillet to so that it's nice and ripping hot. And so that means I take the turkey and put it into that hot pan, and it starts cooking the bottom immediately. So it helps give some additional cooking to the bottom, to the dark meat. So that certainly helps to ensure that the dark meat cooks faster than the white meat. That's just one of many possible tricks here. Okay, meanwhile, handsome, basted with butter, uncover the last hour of cooking. I was told no metal in a microwave. My mother cooked before microwave ovens. Well, there is that, yes. Um, I am no expert at cooking in a microwave. I'm sure you can cook a turkey in a microwave, but I don't know how to do it. I'd have to look it up. So, yeah, Spark City, that is definitely true as well. The rhythm method. Tips on crisping the skin. Well, as you said, tips on crisping the skin. One thing I've seen recently on the internet is that a lot of people now are using baking powder in their rub, in that they put a dry rub on the turkey skin that includes baking powder, and this apparently helps to dry out and crisp the skin. Though, on the other hand, there's the Chinese method of using cornstarch, which will also dry out and crisp the skin. So, either of those are a possibility. On the other hand, as you said, uncover the turkey, and you could start the broiler or just turn it up to a high temperature. And I've done that many times. I've got several different recipes for cooking a turkey in cast iron by now. A few years ago, I slow roasted a turkey, and it took almost 6 hours, and it turned out great. The trick there is that I cooked it low and slow, like 225, for instance, until the turkey reached about 120 degrees or so. Then I took it out of the oven, and I turned the oven temperature up to, I think it was like 425. Put the turkey back in with the thermometer and cooked it that way until the breast reached 155, and that gave a nice crisp skin. So it's certainly possible, and it's actually pretty easy here. So Corey Clark, I use a 15-inch skillet for Morris family. Brushing soy sauce on the skin will dry the skin out and help to make it crispy. It all sounds good. And yeah, I guess I'll say this part again. There are 1,000 different tricks for cooking your turkey, and chances are probably 900 of those 1,000 tricks are correct and they will work. There are many ways to get a great turkey. This isn't math. This isn't rocket science. Math, there's one right answer and a lot of wrong answers. Cooking a turkey, there are about 1,000 right answers. So if you've never heard of things like brushing the skin with soy sauce, don't knock it till you've tried it, because most of these come from people who have actually done it this way. I've got this secret recipe from my great grandmother who moved here from China or something like that. So they know what they're talking about. So yes, there are indeed many different ways. I mean, if you want to experiment on Thanksgiving Day and try something different, well, that's up to you. If you want to try something nice and safe, well, that's also up to you. I mean, here's where, how I really hate the term do your research, because it involves watching YouTube videos. That's probably the best way to do research on cooking a turkey. Because, yeah, yes, I'll plug some of my videos. I've got at least a dozen turkey videos on my channel right now, for instance. And in just about all of them, the turkey turned out great, even though I've used a slightly different method every single year. In fact, I can't believe it's been 8 years since I did that video of cooking a turkey at 500 degrees in a cast iron skillet. Okay, some folks may have heard of the 500-degree chicken. No, not my 500-degree chicken. I, in fact, took that and improved it. But go back. I believe this started with the New York Times, in which they took a cast iron skillet, preheated it in the oven to 500 degrees, dropped the chicken into it, and just roasted it in the oven just like that. And the chicken turned out great. And yes, it does. I've done it too. Well, several years ago, I thought, I wonder if this will work with a turkey. I got a 12-pound turkey. I took the video's still there on my YouTube channel. I got a 12-pound turkey. I got a large 15-inch cast iron skillet, heated that to 500 degrees, dropped the turkey in, and roasted it. And only after an hour and I think it was 5 minutes, the turkey was completely done. So, and it worked. I think I didn't exactly dry out the skin, the white meat, but I think I may have overdone it a little bit from that high heat. However, it was still a very good turkey. It's not something I would actually recommend for Thanksgiving. It's more of an emergency turkey type of method. In that, again, it gives you a good turkey. I don't think it gives you a world class turkey. I did that 500-degree turkey really as an experiment more than anything else. I liked it. But as you can see, I'm not doing it every year for Thanksgiving. Each year it seems like my turkey recipes have pretty much gone more and more towards the tried and true low and slow method. In that now I brine the turkey, I do an herb butter, I smear the butter all over it and put some under the skin as well and roast it that way. Then, after it reaches a certain temperature, right now I'd say probably about 120 degrees or so, I crank up the oven then to 425 and leave it there to brown the skin and crisp the skin until the breast reaches 155. It's easy. And yeah, and yeah, I am quite proud of my Thanksgiving turkeys. I've cooked Thanksgiving turkeys now for the last several years on the average of maybe 2 to 3 per year. So all I can say is I have some experience. And I've cooked turkeys for work. I've cooked turkeys for friends, for relatives. Um, 10 years ago, 11 years ago, 12, good grief, 12 years, no, 11 years ago. I cooked, does anybody remember the Occupy Wall Street movement that took place all over the country? I cooked Thanksgiving that year for Occupy Boston. And I myself used 3 Dutch ovens and coals, and I cooked 3 turkeys for them, and they turned out great. And regardless of what your politics are about the Occupy Boston movement, which I'm not going to get into, that was 12 years ago. But I will not forget that at that place, I got one of the best compliments I've ever heard because they didn't know who had made it. They were just talking about the turkey. I happened to be standing by. They had no idea who made it. And I heard one guy say to the other, I don't like turkey because it's too dry, but this is moist. And that anonymous comment was one of the best things I'd ever heard. So yeah, I'm proud of that. In short, I love cooking turkeys. It's fun, it's easy, the results are great. I get to feed a lot of people. And what can I say? I've done my best to share all this on YouTube. So, okay, let's see what I've been missing at this point, for instance, such as Corey Clark. Getting crispy skin in an electric roaster, probably not going to happen because it basically just steams the skin. Are you talking about those old 1950s or 1960s Westinghouse roasters? You know, my grandparents had one of those as well, and I barely remember them ever using it. So, yeah. So, I do know what you're talking about there. Um, Let me see. That cover picture, well, yeah, Christine Borgatti. Yeah, that cover picture, that is my turkey. I made that turkey. I think I made that one about 3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago. So yeah, that's what I mean. It's easy to cook a turkey because if I can do it, anyone can do it. Okay, yo, broccoli. Showtime rotisserie, set it and forget it. If you've got a Showtime rotisserie that could fit a turkey, then good for you. And in fact, if your Showtime rotisserie is still working after all these years, then good for you. Because yeah, the Showtime rotisserie, no, I never had one. But Ronco products, well, they were good in the short run. I mean, they really didn't last long in general. So that's all I'll say about that. But wait, there's more. Yes, indeed. I remember Ronco. Yeah, I'm excited. I found a 9-pound turkey. I like keeping it small. Well, congratulations. And that's not easy these days. When I went and looked for my turkey last week, it seemed like the smallest one I could find was, I think, 17 pounds. I think that was the one I ended up cooking, in fact, the other day. So yeah, I mean, turkeys have really gotten huge lately, haven't they? And no, I am not interested in hearing any kind of scare stories about corporates and chemicals, and they're deliberately fattening the turkey and all of that. No, this is not the place for it, or at least this is not the time for it. It's Thanksgiving. All I'm interested in is a good turkey, and I like to shop on a budget as well. So I am gonna go for the cheap turkeys, the ones they have at Walmart, the ones they have at Price Chopper. I am never gonna pay $150 for a free range organic yada yada turkey, not unless I get one for free. Okay, I've made turkey once, Elsie's cat. A few years ago, I followed a brine recipe and it was delicious. I could make it. I wish I could make it again, but I'm handicapped now. Oh, my condolences. But hopefully, you have relatives and friends who you could be in the kitchen with when the turkey is cooking. Maybe we're getting close to our number 9 type top and my number 7 type top bottom. Guess what's on its way from Kentucky? BSR Chef Skillet. Well, congratulations on that. Yeah, no, that's definitely a prize, and I can only hope you get a lot of a lot of use out of it. Dressing wars. I'm Team Sage. Cornbread, oyster. What do y'all like? Well, being a New Englander, several years ago, I found this recipe from Vincent Price, no less, for New England bread stuffing. And that has been my go-to for stuffing, really, for the past several years. It uses bread stuffing. It doesn't use cornbread, and it has some interesting combinations of 3 types of cooked meat. It uses sausage, chicken, and ham, and I think it's quite good myself. So, how do you put stuffing? No, do you put stuffing and cranberry sauce on your sandwiches? You should. That's the other thing I've whined about several times, cranberry sauce, because I only learned my lesson about cranberry sauce the first year I tried making it myself. And wow, that was at least 10 years ago. Man, I'm getting old. um, just that. Cranberry sauce is one of those things like fruitcake at Christmas that everybody seems to hate and nobody knows what to do with it. Which of course is because, they're not doing it right. You see the trick about cranberry sauce is just this. Cranberry sauce goes on your turkey. You spread it on your turkey and you eat it as a topping, just like gravy. You eat the turkey and the cranberry sauce together. And I did not learn that until I was over 40 years old, namely about 10 years ago, because nobody ever taught me that. I mean, we all saw cranberry sauce sitting on the side of the plate as some kind of a weird jello salad. And nobody ever knew what cranberry sauce really was, at least not in my family. So when I learned about cranberry sauce and I tried cranberry sauce on my turkey, it was a revelation. I loved it. And I'm making sure to have cranberry sauce, homemade cranberry sauce, at my Thanksgiving table every year. Traditional dressing up north is cornbread dressing. Southern traditional is rice dressing. I haven't tried rice dressing yet. I've tried cornbread dressing once, and yes, that was good. But I haven't tried rice dressing yet. I've always wondered what to do with cranberry sauce. Well, there you go, Deep Hell Pal. Look, as I said, I've got a short video. Again, I'm plugging it. Look on my channel for cranberry sauce, and you will see it. Cranberry sauce is easy to make. It only takes like about 15-20 minutes. And again, what you do is you spread it on your turkey. Give it a try. I mean, it's not expensive, and if you don't like it, you don't have to do it again. Okay, I bet you're going to get your BSR Chef Skillet, but you're not going to get it from me because I only have one. Well, I can only hope so, William Hurt. I mean, yeah, that's one of those things I'm definitely looking for. Cranberries on a cold turkey Sammy. Yeah, after Thanksgiving, a lot of people have a whole bunch of ways to do leftovers. Like there's the famous turkey pot pie, which is good. And then there's the turkey yeah, the whole turkey stuffing cranberry sauce sandwich. Everything all rolled together into one sandwich. Apparently, that is either the official food of New Jersey or it came from New Jersey or something. Because there is, in fact, a sandwich from New Jersey called the New Jersey Bobby, the Bobby sandwich. And that is just that, it's Thanksgiving all rolled together in one sandwich. Turkey, stuffing, cranberry sauce, and all that. So, for whatever reason, they have a special name for it in New Jersey, and they call it the Bobby. I use cranberry sauce to help seal my driveway. Okay, I use, no, I said that one. Lots of typos tonight. Well, that sounds like me. I make typos all the time. William, we definitely not bots. I made an herb bread in a bread machine and cut it into cubes for stuffing and stuffing balls. Well, that sounds good too. I won't deny that. You know, my attempts so far at bread making have been very poor. One of many, many things I still need to practice. So I'm still going to do my bread stuffing the old fashioned way. I'm going to get some bread and dry it out. In, I'm going to just go to the the Walmart leftover bakery section, because you can still get a loaf of bread there for $1 or maybe $1.25, and that way I'll be able to just cut it up and and dice it and then dry it out in the oven. And then on comes the stuffing. So I had 2-week-old cranberry sauce and it got me drunk. That must have been some interesting ingredients in that cranberry sauce. You think you could share the recipe? I want some of my dad's stuffing. I want boatloads of it. She had typed North and South LA, Louisiana, got skipped. Cornbread, definitely Southern. But I'm curious about the rice stuffing. I will say that too. Okay. Well, I've ranted this much. Let's see what I may have missed at this point. That recipe was to die for. I pick wild high bush cranberries and make sauce. They're not cranberries; they taste the same. That sounds interesting. Are you talking about things like crab apples, perhaps? Cornbread dressing. We said rice dressing. I have one of those rotisseries. It was good for chicken. Sucked to clean, though. I'll pull it out once in a while. Yeah, that is true. My parents did have a rotisserie. And yeah, for a while they were making some really good rotisserie chickens on that thing. Yes, but yeah, that thing is a real to clean, isn't it? So I guess that's why I don't have a rotisserie myself. I just use my Dutch ovens. Organic just means grown or raised in. Yeah, I'll probably agree with you on that. All right, I've made turkey once. Anyway, we can still keep talking about turkey because there's nothing wrong with that. I just love stuffing. Yes, indeed. I don't even mind the bagged stuffing. Although I can say that since my palate has expanded, since I've been cooking myself, I will say as well that the dried stuffing you get at the store is okay, but it can be improved. So just be sure to add your own spices to it, and that will certainly help it out. Just sugar and smashed cranberries and let it sit for a while. Somewhere I have cranberry relish recipe that uses whiskey in it. That sounds interesting. That must have been the one that you were talking about. So yeah, I'm definitely curious about that one as well. But yeah, the thing about stuffing is, stuffing is really a kind of bread pudding. And even though I'd been eating stuffing all my life, I didn't learn about bread pudding again until decades later. And that was a real eye opener for me, because especially since you consider that we've got Christmas coming up. So yeah, we're definitely going to have reasons for our bread pudding and our stuffing there too. Aunt Debbie's wild rice dressing. Oh yeah, that reminds me. Here's yet another plug. I hope you folks don't mind. Anybody remember Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol? And of course, that has razzleberry dressing. A few years ago, I made raspberry dressing. I came up with a recipe for raspberry dressing, and I thought it was very good. And if you want to take a look at that and give that a try, Christmas, Thanksgiving, or whenever, well, see what you think because I would love some criticism on it. So, never heard of rice and turkey, ground sausage, chicken liver, bell pepper? I say it's a new name for dirty rice. Sounds so familiar. Add sugar to any fruit and let it ferment, and it'll get you drunk. Okay, well, I'm definitely gonna have to try that too. Um, what was I just thinking now? And now I forget. Oh yeah, that's right, stuffing. Oh yeah, the other thing, of course. Here's a question, I guess. Do you stuff your turkey or with stuffing or not? I've seen many recipes, and I'm taking them to heart, quite frankly, that say don't stuff your turkey, or at least don't stuff it with stuffing. The idea, of course, is that it actually it actually blocks the heat. It makes it much harder to cook the inside of the bird, and I can understand that. I know there are folks who still put their herbs and a lemon and an apple and maybe one or two other things into the turkey, of course, but there's still a lot of airflow in the cavity there, so it's not the same as completely stuffing it with stuffing. So I think I'm going to go with the advice that says not to really stuff your turkey. And because you can always just make your turkey, and then you can make the stuffing. And as a matter of fact, the recipe I've got now for gravy produces so much broth that you could even use that turkey broth to flavor your stuffing. So it'll work either way. Stuffing what versus dressing? I say stuffing all the way. Put all that stuffing in, yeah, don't stuff it. Put all that stuffing in pans and bowls. I hear that's how they make jailhouse liquor. Orange peels in a plastic bag and sugar. Real Americans say stuffing. Yeah, I usually say stuffing as well. I mean, that again, that's another way I've just been brought up, and I certainly have been saying stuffing all my life, and I think my whole family has. So mine is homemade every year. Cornbread stuffing is the best. Oh yeah, here it comes, I guess. The battle of cornbread stuffing versus bread stuffing. As I said, I've been a fan of bread stuffing myself, but then again, I'm a Yankee at heart anyway, so I'm certainly not going to deny that. My stuffing is sausage, chicken, and walnuts, celery, cranberry, and of course the bread. I use about four different herbs: chicken broth, turkey broth. Wow, a lot of variety in there. I'll certainly say that. But the important thing is as long as it works. What's your favorite wine to serve at Thanksgiving dinner? My favorite wine is, oh, the Patriots are doing terrible this year. How's that? Um, Well, I myself am really not a person who drinks liquor on a regular basis, so I have very little knowledge of the proper wine to serve with a turkey, I'm afraid. I would think, though, with poultry, oh, excuse me, sorry about that. I would think with poultry, should probably be a light wine or a white one, rather. Stuffing is inside the bird, dressing is cooked in a separate dish. So I guess in that case, I'm doing it right and but calling it wrong because I make my stuffing in a separate pot, in a Dutch oven, in fact. So bread stuffing all the way, no oysters, no sausage. Okay. Yeah. Okay, here's another question then, I guess. Have preferred using a Dutch oven to cook my stuffing, even though a lot of people use a casserole dish, probably because it's traditional. Of course, there's no wrong way to do it, but I like to think that the shape of the Dutch oven, and especially using a lid instead of foil on top, helps to make it more convenient. So that's one thing I might suggest. Try a Dutch oven for your stuffing. My dad loved oyster stuffing. Made it one time. It was the only one, and he was the only one who ate it. I don't know. Used the same old ways. Stuffing is inside the bird. Dressing is cooked outside. That works. All right. Let me see. Getting on with the cast iron, I think. As I mentioned, I've talked about BSR pans. Here's another one that hopefully some folks might still have, or some folks may be lucky enough to have. Oof. And that would be some version of a big, huge cast iron pan like this. This one is a large fish fryer, for instance, and it's definitely big enough to fit a turkey. Some folks may have a smaller casserole pan, or you might have what they call an oval roaster. Which is just that. It's an oval shaped Dutch oven. And if you do, of course, this is the time of year to use it because naturally, you can put your turkey in it. Although some of those oval roasters may not be able to fit a turkey except for the 9 pound turkey that you were lucky enough to find. So, hooray, turkey parts. Yes, Black, always the corner pieces. I love the crispy edges of the stuffing in a pan. I agree that stuffing is inside the bird. Okay. Best turkey Sammy has turkey, cranberries, and stuffing. I noticed Walmart isn't selling. Yeah, I noticed that. I was in Walmart just the other day. And in their camping section, I did not see the 15-inch Ozark Trail pan. You know what else I did not see in Walmart? The Lodge Wildlife Series pans. They're reissues, or the second generation of the Lodge Wildlife pans that they've been producing for the past several years now. I did not see it at Walmart. The only thing I saw in their camping section were their Ozark Trail brand, and yes, I did not see the 15-inch one either. I don't know if it's sold out or maybe if they're discontinuing it or at least reducing the distribution. Something to consider, though, which also makes me think, though, if in fact the wildlife series might be going away at Walmart, well, those of you who have the newer wildlife pans, you might just have a collector's item on your hand. Just saying. Um, of course, on the other hand, the question is, will the other big suppliers like Bass Pro, for instance, do they still carry those things? Do they still have the large wildlife pans, for instance? If Bass Pro does not have the wildlife pans, then it may very well be that it might be getting, there might be a reason for that. I tried using raisins in my stuffing and they rehydrated and blew up, which was kind of goofy. I sent the clerk at Trader Joe's to the freezer and asked him to find the smallest one. I won the hubby with turkey gravy. Gravy is something that I've been practicing for several years, still trying to get it right, although I'm very proud of the gravy that I made with my turkey the other night. So, yeah, it's really a consistency thing, and I've had a lot of trouble getting my gravy to the right consistency. But I think I've been getting better at it. I think my gravy is improving, and I can only hope that's the case next Thursday on Thanksgiving. So, sorriest Walmart in the world. Loves sweet potato pie, sweet potato casserole. Any way to make a sweet potato is good. Wildlife pans at Bass Pro, yes. Okay, then that means that they're not being discontinued then. Love my wildlife pans. Had the entire lineup. I always felt a little bad as I know they aren't super fancy or anything like that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. So here's a question. Do you have the wildlife turkey pan? Lodge released a 13-inch turkey skillet a couple of years ago. 3, maybe 4 years ago. Boy, time is flying. And of course, it's just that. It's their wildlife pan, and it has a big turkey on the bottom. And well, there you go. If you have one of those, well, what else should you roast your turkey in other than that? So, of course, you did, Val. You're an undercover Southerner. Every meal in here will be liver, sweet potatoes, and beets. Not liver. I think I can safely say that. So, Elsie's cat tell Rick he needs to make a fresh pie. I'll agree with you on that. Even if you just make the filling and use a homemade, no, and use a store-bought crust, then you'll still have a pie that kicks butt over pretty much anything you can buy at the store. Some store-bought pies are good, yes. But when you make it yourself, it's better. And I will very much recommend that you do give that a try. Yes. Try making your own pie and see what you think. Wild turkey, best turkey I ever had. I have never had wild turkey. I have to say, all my turkeys have in fact been frozen and thawed out, so I have not yet had that opportunity. I have had goose once. Several. I keep saying several years ago. God, all these things I did in the past, and I have to do again. But there was one year when I wanted to cook a goose for Christmas, and I actually went and I found a goose, and I cooked that up, and I enjoyed it. And the thing I noticed about the goose was it's entirely dark meat, even the breasts. It is dark meat. There is no white meat on a goose. Also, it has extremely long wings, big wings. So yeah, it was an interesting taste. I will say that. Yeah, I had wild turkey last week. We raised turkeys on a farm. Best flavor ever. Pie, yes, please. Pumpkin. Well, yeah, that's true. Among other things. In fact, I think this is probably going to be what I do next week on live. I am going to do more cooking on YouTube Live next week, the night before Thanksgiving, to help prepare for Thanksgiving. And I think what I will do first, which I've done before, is I will make my pies on Wednesday night, probably even during live. I can do a pumpkin pie or an apple pie, or maybe even both if I'm feeling really up to it. So, yeah. But yeah, you got to have a pumpkin pie or a squash pie and an apple pie. That's pretty much a standard in my kitchen, anyways. And I got to make sure that when my guests arrive on Thursday, they will be able to have both. So I've only had wild turkey in liquid form. I like a blend of butter and Crisco. I bought a heritage turkey once, very pricey, nothing great. Use butter in your pie crust. Okay. Okay, yeah. So I've talked about turkey. We've talked about stuffing. We've just started talking about pies. Um, I've talked about pumpkin pie already, largely because of because back on Halloween, then I was doing pumpkins. Even then, I mentioned one way, in fact, to roast a pumpkin and make your own pumpkin puree. And or I don't know if you'd call it puree because it's essentially just roasted pumpkin, but it's really easy without having to cut up the pumpkin with a big sharp cleaver or a knife or something. Um, Again, I did a video of this. If you want to do a good, an easy pumpkin to put into your pie, you take your pumpkin, a pie pumpkin, put it in a cast iron pan, of course. Just stick it in the oven and roast it for an hour and 10 minutes at 350 degrees, and that's it. Don't cut the pumpkin. Don't open it up. Don't cut anything off. Just roast the entire pumpkin just like that. And when it comes out of the oven, it will be nice and soft, and you won't even need to use a knife to cut it up. So that's the easiest way to get pumpkin innards for your pie or your roasted pumpkin seeds for that matter. So there's one suggestion there. Cabela's has the Lodge turkey skillet, $44.99. All things considered, I guess that's not bad. I mean, granted, of course, the wildlife series does have a little bit more of a price to it, largely because it's, well, what can you say? They're appealing to the collector's market with that wildlife series. There's really no denying that. So, if you want a turkey pan, I suppose that's probably not a bad price. I have not run out of my way to collect the wildlife series, largely because I've got enough of a collection already. Heck, here is again a BSR number 10 that I paid $20 for, and I'm quite happy with. I'll be making sure that this and Stumpy get some real use on Thanksgiving next week. Wild game is the best. Okay, is the recall limited to a certain area or recall? Just heading off to bed, 4Jim44. Figured I'd stop in to say hi to you and Rick. I do not know if Rick is on tonight. Well, good night. Well, okay, nice to see you though, 4Jim44. Um, okay, so anyway, folks, yes. As I said, I am asking as well for everybody to share tricks and tips as well. because there are so many things that do need to be done next week. Not the least of which is, of course, between preparing the turkey and all of those side dishes and everything like that. I mean, heck, we haven't even talked about things like green bean casserole yet. Because that's another one of those things on Thanksgiving that a lot of people hate. I tried green bean casserole for the first time only a couple of years ago. And I loved it. I thought it was really good. I also discovered something about green bean casserole. It's almost impossible to burn it. You could probably stick a green bean casserole in a 450-degree oven and you still wouldn't burn it. So that's something to consider as well when making that. You can never have too much cast iron, George Lewis. Boy, that is certainly true. If the pumpkin is very watery, drain it with cheesecloth. True green bean casserole is easy to make. Yes, it is. The hard part about the green bean casserole are, of course, those fried onions, because they've got to be crispy fried onions, as I found out. And while a lot of people do try substituting caramelized onions, and they do taste good, the consistency is completely different. So it's not really quite the same, I'm afraid. And as such, because while it does take a lot of effort and resources, you've got to deep fry your onions to get them crispy like that. Probably one of those dishes that you may have to end up getting the fried onions at the crispy onions at the store. That's probably the easiest way to do it. Crispy onions, then I would say, are probably like Oreo cookies. Yes, you can make them at home, but they do better when you get them at the store. There are some foods that I have to say the store-bought version is better, like Oreo cookies, and I might have to say the same thing with the crispy onions or French fried onions. So my daughter had me make green bean casserole from scratch. It was really good, but a lot more work. French's fried onions. You need to try pickled beans. The white sauce needs to be a little loose for making the casserole. Real green bean casserole has seasonings and soy sauce in it. Too many people just fling a can of cream of mushroom soup in it and call it good. Yes, I can certainly testify to that. Cream of mushroom soup, of course, is way, way overrated. It's good on its own, but a lot of people use it as like a substitute for things, a substitute for chicken pot pie filling, a substitute for gravy, or a substitute for green bean casserole. And it's really not quite the same. So there are some things we do have to take a little more effort with, and green bean casserole may very well be one of them. But I mean, here we are. We've been talking about, let's see, we've gone over turkey, we've gone over pies, we've gone over stuffing, gone over green bean casserole. Well, we've made some progress tonight. I will say that. I mean, heck, should mention as well good old mashed potatoes, because that is one thing I really do enjoy making in cast iron. Namely because I've got a heck of a masher that I use as well for mashing the potatoes after it's done. So, but yeah, mashed potatoes. I seem to be in the minority in that I prefer smashed potatoes over mashed potatoes. Namely, that's the one where you cook the entire potato, skins and all, and you don't bother peeling the potatoes. You just boil everything until it's all soft, and then you add your necessary um, butter and milk, and then of course some salt, pepper, garlic powder, parsley, and basil, and you mash it all together. And what you get are smashed potatoes. Those are my favorite kind of potatoes. They're easy to make. I've been having them all my life, and that's how I'm going to have those on Thanksgiving as well. So it's $1 a can at Walmart right now. Crispy topping on the broccoli. The texture is amazing when made like that, skins and all. Yes, exactly. I love potato skins. I have no problem at all with potato skins. I even love pumpkin skins. I love squash skins. And I seem to be in the minority about that as well. So many people shy away from the skins, which is a shame, especially on potatoes. Potato skins are great. I never peel my carrots when I cook them because there is no need. I mean, you don't taste the skin. They're still just carrots, and I don't have any problem at all with that either. So smashed, mashed, doesn't matter to me. Love both. Love broccoli casserole. Make it all the time. Dinner rolls or crescent rolls. I would probably go with dinner rolls for that reason. Good old biscuits or those kind of rolls. So, I mean, crescent rolls are nice, but I don't think crescent rolls are the type of thing you can really mop up some good gravy with. I would probably even go with biscuits for that. Nobody likes potato salad. Oh, I like, yeah, fresh potato rolls. I like potato salad. You know what else I like? I like hot potato salad. In that I take my potatoes after I've boiled them, and then I simply mix them in a bowl with basic salad dressing. We're talking like oil, vinegar, salt, pepper, maybe a little diced celery, and that's about it. That's how I like potato salad. But again, I seem to be in the minority about that because I don't include anything like eggs or anything with it. So, but I do like that kind of potato salad as well. So many things I realize I still have to make for next week because yes, I'm going to have to include potato salad as or mashed potatoes or maybe both. I don't know yet. So, stuffing made with panettone is fantastic. Well, panettone is so sweet. That's not exactly the type of thing I would want to put with a turkey. I will say that. On the other hand, it's becoming a standard for me to have a panettone bread pudding at Christmas. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. In fact, this year I think it's going to be like the third year in a row when I've attempted to make panettone. Notice I said attempted. Notice I do not have a panettone video yet. That's because so far all of my attempts to make panettone have been failures, unfortunately. So I'm still trying to figure that one out. I eat turkey after the football game. Otherwise, I fall asleep and miss the game. Julia Child has a potato salad in her What to Cook book. So labor intensive, but good. Yeah, all of her recipes do seem to be labor intensive, don't they? Here's another recommendation, folks. If you have not found a channel called Anti Chef, Anti Chef, look it up. This is a guy who has been attempting to cook every single Julia Child recipe. And you just said Julia Child's recipes are labor intensive. And boy, are they ever. This guy trashes his kitchen. Half the recipes just do not turn out the way they're supposed to. Some of them are failures, some of them are outstanding successes. But really, watching this guy cook all of Julia Child's recipes is really something to see, and it is worth subscribing to on YouTube here, especially since it's free. Once again, the channel is called Anti Chef. Look it up and take and see for yourself. And good night as well to Debbie. Well, and Elsie's cat heading to bed. Anybody else remembering, hear her? I'm Julia Child, and bon appetit. I met Julia Child a few times. Yes, because in fact, in the 1990s, I lived in Cambridge, Massachusetts. At that time, I was not into cooking, but I was a movie geek. And I worked at a movie theater in Cambridge, Massachusetts. And this is a true story. Julia Child and her husband regularly came to our movie theater. I would say we probably saw them and said hi to them maybe once a month or so. So yes, I actually had the opportunity to say hi to Julia Child several times. I never had a real conversation with her. I really just said hi more than anything else. Two things. She and her husband were very quiet and very polite and very nice people. I have nothing bad at all to say about them. They were both very polite. The other thing I had to say about Julia Child and her husband, they are big people, or they were. I mean, they passed away, but they were big. I don't mean fat, I mean big. They were over 6 feet tall, very broad shouldered. They were big people. And yet, despite that, as I said, they were very polite and very, very modest. Yeah, definitely not extroverts. What happened to your big pot? Are you referring to me? Not to worry, it's still here. That's the cast iron cauldron. It is still right here in its resting place. No problem at all there. But I'm really not going to have any opportunity to use it on Thanksgiving, I'm sorry to say. There was a movie called Julie and Julia where Julie cooked all of Julia's recipes. I haven't seen that yet, unfortunately. I love the Dan Aykroyd parody of her on Saturday Night Live. Oh, yes. Okay. All right. Um, Getting on with it. I mean, we're only an hour and 5 minutes into this yet. So, Julia Child rocked. She was 6 feet two and a spy for the French Resistance. Yes, she was. She led quite a life. There's no denying that. Really, if there are any role models that any woman should aspire to, it would be Julia Child, and I'm not making that up either. So, I regularly went to her favorite food store, which is a store on Brattle Street in Cambridge called Savinore's, and they have become a very high-priced and very elite food store where they regularly have imported meats from all over the world. It was at Savinore's that I first had the chance to try wild boar, and I loved it. And believe me, if I ever have a chance to get wild boar sausage again, I will go out of my way for that. That is so worth it. At Savinore's, I saw them selling ostrich meat once, and it was $75 a pound. I saw them. I didn't buy it, but I saw it. We use it in our giblet gravy. Okay. Yeah, neck, gizzard, liver, and the heart. Julia Child is a legend. I inherited her first three cookbooks from my mom. I like the turkey neck. Yeah, that's what I did with my gravy the other night. As I said, it still turned out. It all turned out so good too. As I mentioned, I cut up the turkey and I took out the separate pieces for roasting. The breast, the wings, and the drums and the legs, not just the drumsticks, but the whole legs. The rest of the carcass I put into a cast iron enameled pot, along with the giblets and the neck, and from that made a ton of turkey broth. So that's all especially good as well because now I've got a whole bunch of broth for making other things. In place of chicken broth, I can use the turkey broth. So I'm quite happy about that. When are we going to get a cast iron chaos cookbook? Um, Adremus. As a matter of fact, I have a cookbook. It's on my web. It's called my website. It's my website where I have all my recipes on there, and it's free for everybody to go to and browse. That's my website at motomac.com. Let me type this into the chat. In fact, I have put my recipes on my website, and I'm very flattered when anyone is kind enough to try the recipes, and especially if they tell me how it turned out. So that is my website, and from there you can go and find all my recipes, including my recipe for roast turkey. And it seems like, at least if nothing else, I will brag a little bit. If you go onto Google and you put in the keywords cast iron roast turkey, if my website and my recipe doesn't come up number one, it should at least be in the top five. And that's just because of Google's search algorithm. I didn't pay Google for that, and they're not paying me for that. So I'm quite happy about that because well, like I said, what I really enjoy is when people use my recipes. I mean, I've gotten some comments from people who have in fact tried some of my recipes, and in general they seem to have liked them, and I'm very pleased with that. And that's how it is with the turkey as well. I've gotten some nice comments about cooking turkey in cast iron, and again, that really is about some of the best compliments I can get when people try my recipes, and especially if they like them. And that goes as well for my turkey recipe or recipes. I am very much open to criticism, and I would really like to hear from folks how well my recipe may or may not have helped them on Thanksgiving or at any other time of the year. So, any guidance for cranberry chutney? I've never made chutney, I'm sorry to say, but hopefully there's a person here who has, and they might be able to get in touch with them. That's for K Clock, mind you. Colorado, uh, barfs, barfs, wildlife. Some of that stainless steel is expensive. Yes, it is. That's the thing. There are, you've seen one of the eternal arguments among the cast iron community is high price cast iron, especially when we're talking about things like the new cast iron companies like Finex or Field or Stargazer or Butterpat or so many others. Because those are expensive pans. Butterpat, for instance, is selling a 12-inch skillet for like $350. And as people say, why should I get one of those when I can get a large 12-inch skillet at Walmart for, I think it's $25 now. And it's true, it's hard to beat that price. But on the other hand, if have you seen what the all-clad stainless steel pans cost? It can probably cost you about $150 for a stainless steel all-clad skillet. And then we get into things like copperware, which is incredibly expensive, or even other kinds of stainless steel collections for using something that they call waterless stainless steel, of which I still know very little, because even though it's called waterless, it still requires liquid for cooking. So I'm still not sure why they call it waterless. But those things there are incredibly expensive. We're talking typically like if you want a set of waterless cookware, you could pay anywhere from $750 to $1,000 for it. So and yet they're still in business, which means they must be selling well. So go figure. Compare all that to these, to a Stargazer, to a Field, or even for that matter, to a vintage Griswold skillet. So, the prices are really up there, though, aren't they? I will say that. First four ingredients are all you need. I'll taste and consider before adding vinegar. Something about broke and tight, and that is rummage sales and thrift stores, Cynthia Wesley. They call me frugal. I call me broke and tight. I can certainly understand that. Yes. Uh, Randy Maple, I have a 17-inch lodge with a 17-inch cast iron lid. Well, congratulations, especially on the lid. And definitely that means you've got yourself a turkey roasting pan. There's very little reason for you not to use that 17-inch lodge to roast your turkey next week. So if you haven't done that yet, might I consider giving it a try and see how it turns out? If you're getting spinners, you're probably not using it right unless you bought them that way, which is indeed how old Stumpy. Stumpy here has been a spinner from the beginning, so I certainly understand that. I'm using my Wagner #8 more and more often. I love how lightweight it is. And since I purchased Restored in Season, I can slide an egg off it like a boss. Big fan of it. Congratulations, D. Beaumont resident. I'm glad to hear that. Things like that are really what make this hobby worthwhile. I really love hearing when people are using their cast iron and getting a lot of enjoyment out of it. K Clock, I'm heading to Poughkeepsie, New York on Friday. I hope to hit some secondhand vintage stores. My understanding is the Poughkeepsie area is really rich for antiques. I have yet to go there, unfortunately. I have not had the opportunity to go there. Maybe next year. So the best I could say is good hunting, and here's hoping that you can find something, and here's hoping you find it at a low price. And hello as well to Madonna Fitzgerald. Well, if you haven't been here for a while, well, welcome and welcome back, that is, to this chat room tonight. Yeah, tonight we've been taking it easy, and I've been encouraging everybody to share tips and tricks for making your Thanksgiving dinner in cast iron. We've been doing a lot of talking tonight about turkey in cast iron, and we've also talked about stuffing, green bean casserole, pies, mashed potatoes. Yeah, we've been having a lot of fun here tonight. At least I think so, and I certainly hope other folks are have been enjoying themselves as well. So, spinner skillets are perfectly okay for use on gas ovens. Yes, they are, and they're great baking dishes as well. I haven't been on a hunt in a minute. Ooh, but Saturday bus. I'm a bus. I'm open. Okay. Have okay. K clock trials December 8th. Well, the best of luck to you on that. I guess that's the best I could say there. So, but otherwise, though, I mean, that's really what it comes down to. I mean, that's the reason why I've been doing these videos here on my channel, both live and otherwise, because just that. I really enjoyed the cooking and I love sharing my experiences with everybody. And that's why, as I just said, that if you are kind enough to try any of the recipes on my website, please let me know how it turns out for you because I would like to hear that I would have been able to help you out in some manner or another. Because I find that very satisfying when that happens. I hope I get paid next week. Yeah, that would be nice. Got a John Wright gingerbread house pan today at Goodwill for $8. Well, congratulations, Mark Sieber. That is a good price. I have two of those gingerbread pans. One I paid $25 for. I still think that was a good price, but yours is definitely better. The other one I inherited from my dad, in fact. So so yeah, definitely gingerbread is going to have to be on the menu this coming Christmas as well. I made an attempt at a gingerbread house a couple of years ago. The gingerbread turned out great. Decorating it, not so much. My daddy would say you found a lemon in the garden of love. Well, yes. Okay, not if you use a little more bacon grease. Eggs are perfect. Do you do sweet potato casserole for Thanksgiving? I have not done it regularly, but it's one of many dishes that I have to consider. I mean, granted, I'm having company up next week, but on the other hand, there are so many things to choose from. It's hard to go over. I mean, I don't want to go overboard. When you consider that just next week, going to be doing turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes, pumpkin pie, apple pie, um, green bean casserole, um, hopefully some glazed carrots. Um, with all of that, we may have to consider as well doing things like a sweet potato casserole as well. So who knows? And some years I even cooked the traditional Boston baked beans, which was I would think that they may have had those at the first Thanksgiving as well in Massachusetts. But I'm sure one thing they did not have at the first Thanksgiving in Massachusetts was turkey. Even though turkey is a natural game bird here, more likely they probably would have had deer, venison, and possibly even bear. So I just want to buy something I haven't been able to build. Well, that's yeah. Well, we are getting into that time of year. I will certainly say that. Won't be back next week, William Hurt, traveling. But well, best I can say is have a good trip then, and I can hope everything does turn out well. I mean, after all, traveling because yeah, it is Thanksgiving. The biggest travel day of the year. So I certainly understand that. Just be careful with your traveling, of course, because just that it's going to be busy. And here's hoping, though, that everything turns out okay. Let me check one thing here. Okay, so I still have a little ways to go with that. All right. Don't you ever tell me Nordic made this. You didn't tell me Nordic made this cute little six-space cake pan. I was given one a couple days ago. Well, that sounds nice, Cynthia. I'm looking forward to making green bean casserole. The New York Times put out a nuts recipe for green bean casserole that had no mushrooms. Ugh, go figure. Excuse me, my throat's getting a little dry here. But for that, all I can say is, well, partly, they are, of course, looking to have those clicks, that clickbait, just like anybody else. I mean, the New York Times has done some great things, like for instance, the skillet chicken or the no-knead bread. But I'm not sure if this different kind of green bean casserole is going to take off. Has anyone used bacon grease in their pie crust? I've used it in my quiche Lorraine. Well, it depends on the kind of pie. I would not think that bacon grease should go into pumpkin pie, for instance, or apple pie. On the other hand, putting it in a quiche sounds pretty good. On the other hand, I would think as well, bacon grease would go great if you're doing a pot pie, maybe even a leftover turkey pot pie. So there's one possibility there. Or even the Christmas tortillere, the Christmas meat pie, which I've also made for the past several years and I've also enjoyed as well. All right. And we have a lot of wild pigs out here in California. No bacon grease in pie. Lard, yes. Have not used bacon grease, but I have used lard in pie crust. And so have I, and I've really enjoyed it as well. I've also used suet, and that also works too. Works good. All right. Folks, I think we are starting to get on into our time here. I mean, we've been here an hour and 20 minutes, but I'd say things are doing good. Most importantly, as I said, we have covered some subjects here. And what I really wanted to do tonight, and I can only hope it does, is kind of like offer some inspiration. I'm hoping that all of this talking about cooking in cast iron will encourage some folks to try cooking in cast iron next week because, yeah, that's what I enjoy doing, and I can only hope that others do as well. I have not yet seen the Star Wars cast iron at Walmart myself. No, I have not, but it's not Thanksgiving yet. After Thanksgiving, who knows? Because the other thing I've been looking for at Walmart is the annual fruitcake sighting, and I have not yet seen fruitcake at Walmart. I saw it at Price Chopper last week, but I have not yet seen it at Walmart. And when I see fruitcake at Walmart, then I know the holidays are here. And we will see what happens then. If the Star Wars pans have been discontinued, well, then good luck to everybody who has some because it means you've got some collector's items. All right, and I don't go far from the house. Hope they come up at night here. Lard is from pigs. Suet is from cows. Yes, it is. Suet is essentially cow lard or beef lard, I should say. I see fruitcakes every day. Well, yes, and I work with fruitcakes every day too, but that's not the kind of fruitcake I'm talking about. Okay. But as I said, my intention has been just that to try to inspire folks to do some cooking in cast iron this Thanksgiving because well, yeah, you know how we say cooking in cast iron makes everything better. And if there's any time at all of the year where we can prove that, it would be Thanksgiving. And as such, I would like to encourage you to take out your cast iron pan or pans and give them some good use, whether if that means making some cornbread for stuffing or using a Dutch oven to make mashed potatoes or using a casserole dish to make any number of casseroles, green bean casserole, sweet potato casserole, or use your skillet as a pie dish and make your apple pie or your pumpkin pie or your squash pie in a cast iron skillet. And then, of course, there's the turkey, in which case, yes, I do recommend cooking your turkey in cast iron. Rather than using that turkey roasting pan, the kind with the rack on it, that you only use once per year, I would rather suggest you get rid of that thing and instead use that cast iron pan that hopefully you've been using every day. Because I still say there's nothing better than cast iron for roasting your Thanksgiving turkey. And Debbie, it won't be enough, Cynthia. They're gonna get my jellies I made this year. I hate it, but that's no money after what they did to me. Okay. Thank you. Well, thank you, Val's Black Cat's Rules, for coming into my kitchen or my living room, as it may be. Helping them cook, William, or are they spoiling you and letting you kick back? I really like my Dutch oven. Well, hello, Frank Roper, and I'm glad you're getting a lot of use out of your Dutch oven. I certainly do. And yeah, there's so many things you can use your Dutch oven for. As I said, I make my stuffing in a Dutch oven, and I think it turns out great. So, um, So for that, I think we are probably going to, we're getting down to that time here. I mean, it's been almost an hour and a half. And as I said, I've really, the whole point of these live videos is to relax and to have some fun. And I hope I've done my best to entertain you because, as I say every time, these live videos here, what really I enjoyed the most are these live videos are your comments, folks. I enjoy having these conversations and I enjoy hearing your tips and tricks. And I'm very much going to take them to heart. And I can only thank everybody so much, really, for being kind enough to show up here each week. Or even if you're here new, like for instance, like Frank Roper, for instance. And it's nice to see you and nice to see everybody else and nice to see regular names like Cynthia Wesley and Debbie and Val's Black Cats Rules and hello Chris McGee and a good night to you as well. And I can only thank everybody. I am going to definitely be cooking on live next week because next Wednesday is again the night before Thanksgiving. And the live will be a good excuse to get at least some of my Thanksgiving prep work done already. So I'm hoping that'll all work out, and hopefully you folks will be able to give me some inspiration as well. Thank you for your time, Adremus. These nights even have a nostalgic effect during Thanksgiving. Well, that's good. And thank you again to Dean Reedy and R.T. Scott. And I can only thank everybody. And yes, we'll see you all on Thanksgiving Eve because, yeah, we've all got to go out and do our Thanksgiving prep this weekend. This weekend is when I have to get the turkey and thaw it out and get all the other things as well. So, which mostly means food because at least my cooking utensils, my gear is all set. I have had to reorder some spices, and I've done that, and hopefully they'll be here in time for Thanksgiving. So thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for your time. And as I said, we are going to be back in the kitchen cooking next week as we prepare for Thanksgiving. And what comes after Thanksgiving? Christmas. Oh, one other thing. You know what the weekend after Thanksgiving is? Stir Up Sunday. How many folks remember Stir Up Sunday? That is coming a week from this Sunday, or in other words, the weekend of or after Thanksgiving. Because Stir Up Sunday means time to start preparing the Christmas pudding or fruitcake. And that's yet another thing to consider because we are indeed getting into that time of year. So thank you so much. Yes, Stir Up Sunday, Val's Black Cats Rules. Look it up. Look it up on Google. Look it up on Wikipedia. Stir Up Sunday, and you will see all the details there. And hopefully that may inspire some folks to do something for the first time this year and make yourselves a Christmas pudding. And having said that, I think I'm going to have to call this a night because my throat is getting dry and we've got to get to work tomorrow. So stay safe and healthy out there, everyone, as Black Cats Val says. And yes, and thank you as well to the Cast Iron family. And thank you, everybody, for being here. And we will do all this. We'll do this all again over next week. So thank you so much, everybody. And I hope to see you all again. Keep safe, keep warm, and especially have fun. So have a good night, everybody. And we'll see you all next Wednesday.